Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. Today I'm going to be counting down the 50 best albums from 1972, and preparing for this video and going through all the records, I got so excited because this year has so many great records in a beautiful diversity of genres. There were so many genres developing, reinventing itself. There was so much going on. So without further ado, at number 50 of the best records from 1972, it's going to be kicked off by Rod Stewart with Never a Dull Moment. Now, I'm slowly getting more into Rod Stewart. I love his voice, I love his singing, and I actually love the true fun that is in these songs. This record has great British bar drinking fun. I'm laughing because yesterday I did a video about The Who's live at the Oval show, and The Who was tipsy or drunk on stage because they had been drinking with the Faces. Well, that kind of vibe is in their music, and it's definitely in what Rod Stewart is doing. At number 50, Rod Stewart, Never a Dull Moment. At number 49, Cooder, Into the Purple Valley. Now, Cooder is one of those incredibly skillful guitar players who happens to have a great feeling for a lot of genres, and on this record, it's just a couple of years after he left working with Captain Beefheart. He's really finding his own direction. Gorgeous songs, beautiful vibe, great album. At number 49, Cooder, Into the Purple Valley. At number 48, putting a live album, The Band, Rock of Ages. And this box, I'm gonna take it out of the sleeve, is some incredible gift. How many records does it have? Well, it's I believe it's this is a trifold with The Band in such a stunning shape. You got songs like Stage Fright, Wheels on Fire, The Weight, The Shape I'm In. I love that one. It's a trifold, but it's for two records though. Beautiful. The Band in top shape. At number 48, Rock of Ages. At number 47, this is quite something. Stephen Stills' Manassas. Another double record, and Stephen Stills at an early stage of his, I can't say post Crosby, Stills, Nash. Well, I can say Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, but he would later on tour again with Neil Young. So that's an on and off going affair. But these early 70s, Stephen Stills was so good. And together with his first solo album, these are the highlights of his work. Such an incredible shape. Beautiful guitar playing. At number 47, Stephen Stills, Manassas. At number 46, one of the ultimate challenging prog rock bands, Gentle Giant with Octopus. This is quite something. What I'm holding here is, I believe this is a British pressing. Yeah, it's a British pressing. And when you put this on, you'll hear sounds that you won't easily find anywhere else. Gentle Giant was a band that just took everything to extremes, to new limits. They were such incredible technical players. This is an adventure. At 46, Gentle Giant with Octopus. At number 45, this is a bit of a controversial pick. I did include him in my top 25 best glam rock albums. I think I have to include it here, and I'm including it because it's really good rock, glam rock, rock and roll. But I hate the artist. The artist is a horrible person. I'm not going to go into details why. Most of the people know why he has been cancelled. But I think this record, Glitter by Gary Glitter, is just stunningly good. If you've seen the movie Joker, there is this song Rock and Roll when Joaquin Phoenix walks down the stairs just after his transformation in Joker, into Joker, the character Joker. And it's like... That's the song Rock and Roll. A beautiful beat that just really grooves, and then you get the guitar to Rock and Roll Part 2. I mean, it doesn't get a lot better than that. That's on here, and this is a truly great glam rock record. Again, not such a great guy, gorgeous record. At number 45, Gary Glitter's Glitter. And from one glam rock record to the other glam rock record. And by the way, if you're interested in that top 25 glam rock albums, be sure to check out my channel. I don't advertise that often, but I think for glam rock lovers, that might be a nice video. But please stay and watch this one first. 44, Mott the Hoople, All the Young Dudes. This is the moment when Mott the Hoople, one of the big British bands of the early 70s, a glam rock band, they got involved with David Bowie. And this record was produced by David Bowie, and it says even produced by David Bowie for Main Man, which was the company he was working for, or the company that he built together with his manager Tony de Vries, and for which Bowie was paying all the dues. He didn't get a lot out of it, but he did get one beautiful album out there. Several, but he produced this one. Mott the Hoople, All the Young Dudes. A lot of great songs, but the title track, written by Bowie, that's your main song here. But please, if you find a copy of it, listen to it in its entirety, because this is glam rock royalty. At number 44, Mott the Hoople, All the Young Dudes. Number 43, Bill Withers, Still Bill. One of the big names in the world of soul. He has the most stunning voice. Beautiful, sweet, gorgeously inviting. And this is among his best records. Bill Withers, Still Bill, at number 43. At number 42, it is time for some Captain Beefheart and his magic band, Clear Spot. And Clear Spot is particularly fascinating. I love actually all the work by Captain Beefheart. He's experimenting with blues in the 60s. He's experimenting with the most extreme forms of avant-garde in the late 60s, for example, Trout Mask Replica. And then early 70s, he's interested in pop with the records that came after this. He's interested in blues rock again. And here he is working within a couple of genres. We got blues rock influences there, but there's also funk going on. And he has this incredible harmonica. Clear Spot is one of those records that should not be overlooked when looking to the career of Captain Beefheart. At number 42, Captain Beefheart and his magic band, Clear Spot. Number 41, one of the grand dames of folk, Joni Mitchell, for The Roses. One of the best songwriters when we're talking about folk music. This record is just gorgeous. Take a look at the cover. It's like this old yellowed, how do you say this in English? A picture in which the color has drained, or the yellow has drained. It's mostly sunlight takes away a lot of yellow. I hate that. It's that late in the year vibe, but you can still go outside. It's still nice. It's not too hot. It's cold. There's a playfulness. There are beautiful musicians here. I mean, Stephen Stills is playing on this record. Joni Mitchell, such an intriguing voice, such an intriguing composer. At number 41, Joni Mitchell for The Roses. And we're moving towards the top 40 with one of my favorite jazz musicians on number 40. Charles Mingus, Let My Children Hear Music. Now, any year in which Charles Mingus releases something, it's almost bound to go in the top 50, because this man is not only an avant-garde artist, he's not only one of the true pioneers of jazz. This is someone, when he's in the studio, you can almost literally hear him sweat. He's out there. His records are full of excitement, daring new steps, but just in the playing you'll hear skill, concentration, and a maddening energy. At number 40, Charles Mingus, Let My Children Hear Music. At number 39, Elton John with the Honky Chateau album. This is one of those records in which you can hear the skillful songwriting of Elton John and his companion, Bernie Taupin, in a unique form. Opening with the beautiful, funky Honky Cat, then we get Mellow, then the song I Think I'm Going to Kill Myself, and side one ends off with Rocket Man. Now the record has more beautiful Elton John songs like Hercules on side 2, but when you have side 1, Honky Cat, I Think I'm Going to Kill Myself, and Rocket Man, bomb, are we in the territory of pop greatness. At number 39, Elton John, Honky Chateau. The record was named, by the way, after the French Chateau where Elton John recorded this, a famous chateau in France. And from working in castles or chateau, I mean, there's a difference between a castle and a chateau, and I have big discussions with French people about that. But from a record recorded in a chateau to a record by one of the big lone recorders of rock music, Todd Rundgren. Rundgren, am I pronouncing it right? With the record Something, Anything. Now, I did do a video on this record a while ago, and if you're interested in what I have to say about it in more detail, please watch that video. This is just pure brilliance. Every side is a different experiment. Todd Rundgren goes into extremes and has a very inviting sound here. I think this is his most inviting record. Although it's full of experiment, he really draws you in. And that's just stunning. At number 38, Todd Rundgren, Something, Anything. And from one experimental record to another, here we have at number 37, Genesis, Foxtrot. I love early Genesis, and before I started recording this video, I've been listening to this record again, and I was thinking to myself, I should do a video on Genesis. I haven't been talking about Genesis on this channel at all, I believe. What a shame, because this is a daring sound, and these early days recordings like this record Foxtrot takes you to beautiful places audio wise. Great record. At number 37, Genesis, Foxtrot. 36, another prog rock record. Jethro, Tull, Thick as a Brick. Now, I think this packaging is mesmerizing. It's really as if you're opening a newspaper. This record, again, prog rock taking you to new different places. And Jethro Tull has such an authentic sound. I love the writing. I love the playfulness. I love that this was a moment in time when a band could really challenge themselves and make a record that would reach an audience. Thick as a Brick is Jethro Tull, as sharp as you can get them. Daring, beautiful, and you'll love it. At number 36, Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. And I'm thinking, I didn't do this consciously, but we're right now in a prog rock bunch of records, because the next one is prog rock as well. Pink Floyd, Obscured by Clouds. And this is the soundtrack that they wrote for the movie La Vallée. And they recorded it in France. I believe they did it even in Paris, but I'm not too sure. And it's interesting to listen to this because at the same time they were working on Dark Side of the Moon, and there you hear Pink Floyd with a lot of time, with a lot of money, and a lot of concentration working on their next big masterpiece. Here you can hear what Pink Floyd is doing when they have very little time, almost rushing through their studio time. So you get to a certain naked core of Pink Floyd that is just fascinating. There are some very, very good songs here, and the overall sound, though raw, is hypnotizing. What an amazing band. At number 35, Pink Floyd, Obscured by Clouds. And to top a strike of prog rock records, perhaps this is my favorite album by Yes, Close to the Edge. First thing that comes to mind here is the stunning way it sounds with Rick Wakeman on keyboards. This is the first British pressing, and I'd heard the record before. I borrowed this album actually, and I always said, nah, I didn't like Yes. And then there came a bass player into the student home I was living in, and he said, you should really listen to it, borrow it. And I thought, no, I really do like Yes. These are some great melodies. It invites you in, and the overall sound is something that takes me towards old addicts in the 70s, teenage boy bedrooms who are encountering a new world of music and sound that goes beyond anything they heard. Prog rock was doing so well, and Yes was, together with actually the names I just mentioned, Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull, Genesis, on the forefront of finding new musical territories. This record is awesome. At number 34, Yes, Close to the Edge. Then at 33, can I call this folk rock or blues folk? I'm not sure how to call it. I do know it is really, really good. Van Morrison, St. Dominic's Preview. Perhaps only describing the voice of Van Morrison is enough for you to try this record. It's warm, especially in those late 60s, early 70s days, when he would go out and write songs with his guitar and when he was exploring different territories. There's a laid backness to the overall sound, and there's a certain urgency and fire in his voice that is just amazing. At number 33, Van Morrison, St. Dominic's Preview. At number 32, in the world of singer-songwriters, this is the keystone. Tim Buckley with Greetings from LA. As a lot of the viewers may already know, Tim Buckley is the father of Jeff Buckley. I believe Jeff Buckley even said that although he didn't have a lot of contact with his father, that he was invited to the release party of specifically this record. Tim Buckley is in incredible shape here, and I think there is, although the look of the record is pretty simple. It's as if it's a greeting card. The back of it also says that. But this is intimate, and it's beautiful. At number 32, Tim Buckley, Greetings from LA. At number 31, The Temptations, All Directions. It won't get a lot of funkier than this. And although this record has loads of great songs like Funky Music, Show Enough Turns Me On. Sorry, I do not want to do an accent or something like that, but it's seriously written like that. Hard to pronounce. Funky Music, Show Enough Turns Me On. That's how they wrote it. Great song. Run, Charlie, Run. Great song. At the heart of it, there's Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And this is, I'm checking it out of its sleeve again. This is a first Gordy pressing, and Gordy was a label owned by Motown. That warm, full bass, the time that song takes to shape itself, to get a vibe going on, and then the voices of these men together. It's so funky, it's so soulful, it's so groovy, but it's also truly brilliant because this record will take you in directions that you won't easily go into. A masterpiece of funk, soul. At number 31, The Temptations, All Directions. Move towards the territory of the 30s, top 30, and here we have. And who else to kick off the top 30 than with Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa and the Mothers with The Grand Wazoo. This record is truly special because the experiments with jazz go into new levels. Zappa is completely loose here, and it is so nice. Take a look at the artwork. I just love the way this record looks. I love the way it sounds. Zappa on fire. At number 30, Frank Zappa and the Mothers, The Grand Wazoo. At number 29, another fascinating experiment in rock, basically. In Krautrock, nevertheless. At 29, Faust with So Far. And Faust is one of those bands from the early Krautrock days from Germany who just were so exciting. When you put this on, you're not sure what you're gonna hear. There's a certain harshness, there's a certain experiment, and you hear German culture almost desperately breaking traditions, reshaping traditions, finding new sounds, and this is truly exciting and something. At number 29, Faust So Far. 28, The Sound of New Orleans, as done by Dr. John and his record Gumbo. And the chill factor on this record is truly something. Take a look at the inner sleeve. I love the persona of Dr. John. He has a certain niceness, a certain joie de vivre that you hear in loads of songs. The opening track, Aiko Aiko, it's vibing all over the place. And then even later on he does his own version of the traditional Stagger Lee. Or traditional, there have been so many different shapes and versions of Stagger Lee. And it's just good to hear Dr. John get to those roots. Love it. At number 28, Dr. John, Gumbo. And at number 27, The Eagles. Or actually, I should say Eagles, because this record is called Eagles, and I shouldn't put a "the" in front of it. I love this one. And what I have here is a first American pressing, and I can advise anyone to find one of those on the Asylum Records white label. Why especially that one? Well, for a very bizarre reason. I actually did a comparison of this record with the MoFi One Step, and I love the MoFi One Step because it's a beautiful wide sounding record, and it lets you hear all the different layers that Eagles added to their music. The mastering on this American pressing is different. It's almost as if the other one is I can't say prog rock record, but a more experimental open rock record, and this is country rock. The sound is more narrowed down, and there's an intimacy there that centers around the vocals that is just beautiful. It's a really beautiful record. Take It Easy as an opening. What a way to open a record. Witchy Woman, and so many incredible songs. Engineered and produced by Glyn Johns, the master engineer. 27, Eagles. 26. Another one in the realm of soul funk, and a soundtrack nevertheless. Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. I love this. Why? I didn't see the film. I'm a film buff, but I didn't see the film. But the moment Curtis Mayfield gets into the blaxploitation feel and vibe, it's as if you're living, not this film specifically because I haven't seen it, but I've been watching some of those blaxploitation films, and there's this beautiful raw vibe and energy, and that just lives on this record. Curtis Mayfield was a brilliant songwriter and did some gorgeous work in the studio. This is among his best. At number 26, Curtis Mayfield, Superfly. At number 25, Albert King, I'll Play the Blues for You. One of the moments in which you can ask yourself, are we still listening to blues, or is Chicago blues going into blues rock directions? And Albert King is definitely pushing it, but I would still call it Chicago blues. 70s Chicago blues, but Chicago blues. An electrifying record. It is so sharp, it's so playful. The guitar playing is just stunning. Albert King will take you places. And this is on the original Stax label. You can see I have the vinyl here on the back. And the sound of such a American pressing with that blues feeling, whew, it's really something. At number 25, Albert King, I'll Play the Blues for You. Number 24, Deep Purple, Machine Head. This is at the center of the studio work of Deep Purple. This one in rock, at least of this era of Deep Purple. They have different beautiful eras. But this is the record that opens with Highway Star. Whew. Opening with Highway Star. One of the best hard rock songs ever written and recorded. And then you get into Maybe I'm a Leo, which has this beautiful funkiness. And it goes straight into Pictures of Home. I love the scream on Pictures of Home. The Pictures of Home. And then oh, the melodies here are just stunning. And that's just side one. Side two, Smoke on the Water. Need I say more about Smoke on the Water? Everybody knows Smoke on the Water, one of the biggest rock anthems. Then you get Lazy. If you're lazy, stay in bed. And Space Trucking. I used to be part of a Deep Purple tribute band for a very short time. Most of the songs we played would go to this one, Machine Head. What an album. At number 24, Deep Purple, Machine Head. At number 23, Alice Cooper, School's Out. Now, I would definitely like to see some of the track listing here. And this is I believe it's a French pressing. Yeah, I normally don't collect French pressings. They don't sound too well. So I should find an American pressing here, because this is actually a beautifully produced record. Opening with the title track School's Out. that is, I mean, that's an epic. A lot of great songs. As a whole, I think this is a territory in which Alice Cooper, as a band, and they still were a band here because the name Alice Cooper still referred to the band and not to the lead singer. Challenging, beautiful, hard rock. There's an element of slightly scary. It's edgy. Love it. At number 23, Alice Cooper, School's Out. 22. A beautiful artist in the world of singer-songwriting. With a piano, Randy Newman, Sail Away. Let me just talk you through some of the songs on the track list here. Opening with Sail Away. Beautiful piano ballad, and the way he shapes, for me, an ocean is just stunning. Lonely at the top. That's a good song. He gives us all his love. I love that one. Last Night I Had a Dream. Simon Smith and the Amazing Dancing Bear. Old Man. That one goes deep into your heart. Political Science, Burn On. Dayton, Ohio. Oh, You Can Leave Your Hat On, a big hit for Joe Cocker. What a beautiful record. This may be Randy Newman's finest record. His voice is of such a unique quality on the recording of this. This is a first US pressing that I found in Amoeba Records in San Francisco about a year ago. And I was so happy because this is a world of sound and recording and writing that you just want to live in. At number 22, Randy Newman, Sail Away. At number 21, War. The World is a Ghetto. This is one of the most played records I have in this video, simply because when friends come over for dinner, I like to play this one a lot. There's this beautiful, chill vibe going on there. So many great tracks. The Cisco Kid, The World is a Ghetto, the title track, is really good. And it flows. And it is a protest. And it's also a great exploration of soul and funk. And the bass here is just... it will blow you away. At number 21, War. The World is a Ghetto. Moving towards the top 20. I'm shifting some records around here. Yes! And at 20, just some more glam rock. The band Slade, with the record Slade has a question mark. At the core of the band Slade, studio-wise, is this record. Mama, We're All Crazy Now. You gotta see how they wrote that. Mama, We're All Crazy, right? Crazy Now. Look at Last Night. I mean, they wrote it like they pronounced it. It's so exciting. They were a powerhouse of a glam rock band. Maybe even somewhere glam rock, somewhat hard rock. They were perhaps a little bit too masculine for glam rock, but the glitter they wore made them glam rock, so it's hard to find. But there's this beautiful, raw energy to them. The vocals, the raw edge on the vocals, I really go for that. And this is their best studio album. If you're into them live, around the same time, I'm not sure if it's 1973 or so, there's this live album in which they nail the most beautiful version of Darling Be Home Soon. That's one of the best live recordings ever. But studio-wise, this is the way to go. At number 20, Slade. At number 19, still some glam rock. Roxy Music with Roxy Music. And I love this Roxy Music album, for this is some of the best songwriting on any glam rock album. Opening of Remake, Remodel. I love that. Then we go to Ladytron. that is one of those songs that opens in an atmosphere that will take you, it's just so mythical. And then when Brian Ferry starts to sing, he's almost as a poet or a performance artist who takes you in. Last song on side 1 is 2HB, to Humphrey Bogart. Whew, so good. So many incredible songs. Brian Eno is still on board here. I will do a video on Roxy Music. I haven't done one yet because as a band they truly deserve it. They have so many great albums. I think this one may be at the top for me. But I know that's controversial because a lot of people prefer the second record or later records, but the first one, really good. At number 19, Roxy Music, Roxy Music. At number 18, another German record again. Neu, with the record Neu, which is German for new. Now, when I heard this, I was totally taken aback by the raw edge and the way they found melody in the most unusual playing style and in the most unusual places. There is something so inviting about this, and there's something also, there's this punk attitude in the way they just started doing this, in the way they present themselves, in the way it's recorded. But they are skillful melody makers in a certain way. I love it. This is beautiful krautrock. At number 18, Neu by Neu. At number 17, the first country record of this video. I'm a great lover of country, and I know not everybody can be bothered with country, but I'm gonna bother you with this one because the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Will the Circle Be Unbroken, should be in the core of, I think, every music lover's collection, or at least give it a try. Because the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, what they did with this 3-set record is they went into the studio in Nashville and they invited the best players over, and they invited guest artists over, like what's her name again? The mother of, I should know this, I'm so ashamed. The mother of the wife of Johnny Cash and June Carter. The mother of June Carter, loads of other artists who were at the core of shaping American country. And these were old artists already back then. And June Carter's mother tells about how they went into the mountains and they were taught some of these songs by the Native Americans. It goes deeply into the roots of American country. And you can just listen to the session, you hear dialogues in between. It's as if you're taking part in these sessions, and that makes for such a beautiful record. Title track, Will the Circle Be Unbroken, is among one of the most beautiful recordings ever. At number 17, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Will the Circle Be Unbroken. At number 16, a major step in the world of soul funk, Stevie Wonder with Talkin' Book. And this was actually, I believe, the first time I heard Stevie Wonder on an original Motown pressing. I'll show you the label if you like. Yeah. Side 2 opens with Superstition. They get Big Brother. What's on side 1? There are so many great songs here. You Are the Sunshine of My Life. You and I. And what happened when I listened to this record is I was never much into Stevie Wonder. And then I heard on this pressing the full flow of the bass guitar, the full dynamic of his sound, and so many things that are going on. The brilliant fury in his voice. This was somebody who was reshaping a genre, refinding himself at a very early age. Early in his 20s, he was in the studio in his prime, and in the perhaps even in the prime of the genre. It's such an exciting album. At number 16, Stevie Wonder, Talking Book. At number 15, one of my favorite blues albums. And looking at it, I think, shouldn't I have put this higher on the video? Yeah, well, I mean, there are so many great records in 1972 that, no, it's gonna stick at the number, at this spot. It's number 15 is Luther Allison's Bad News Is Coming. And it's a rather recent purchase. This is a near mint copy. It's very hard to find a near mint shape on the Gordy label, the label owned by Motown. And this is Chicago blues at its most fiercest, its sharpest, its most energetic. This record, opening with Little Red Rooster, I mean, one of those songs everybody knows. And Luther Allison is on fire here. The guitar is just roaring. It's sharp. It's penetrating your ears, and then you get Evil Is Going On, another Willie Dixon written song. Ragged and Dirty is side 2 as Bad News Is Coming. Cut You Loose, Dust My Room. This record is just the most rocking, badass blues you will hear in a long time. Electric blues to the new next level, with its raw power still intact. What an adventure! At number 15, Luther Allison, Bad News Is Coming. At number 14, Nick Drake, Pink Moon. Nick Drake is one of the most mythical artists in perhaps the entirety of the UK. A folk rock singer-songwriter who, perhaps not rock, just folk. I shouldn't say rock. This man recorded this record in 2 evenings. They had to do it in the evenings because the studio was taken other times. They had 2 evenings. And Nick Drake, in 2 evenings, created one of the most influential records in the history of folk. When you put this record on, you will hear somebody who, in finger picking, has a certainty, a pointy, craftful dynamic that just shapes an entire scenery, a British scenery in front of your eyes, by almost his fingers and the guitar as the only way of reaching you. But it's not fully the only way, because there's this melancholic, dream-like voice that brings all these stunningly written songs to life, and it's of a dreamlike quality. I'm gonna put this on straight after the video. At number 14, Nick Drake, Pink Moon. At number 13, I almost grabbed the wrong record here. At number 13, another German band. This is a Krautrock video. Can with the record Ege Bamyasi. And I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. It's definitely not German. Ege Bamyasi. Can is wild. You know what? I might just leave it at that. This is one of those records, I shouldn't tell too much about it. Buy it. It's pretty cheap. There's this beautiful Spoon Records Limited reprint that's of good sounding quality. I do not have a German original to compare it to. They are very expensive, but you should definitely just purchase this and try it out. And trust me, this may be one of the first steps which will get you into Krautrock. I've been talking about 3 Krautrock records in this video, and it was a world in its own, and it's just beautiful. And this, stunning. At number 13, Kan Ege Bamyasi. At number 12, I've got some heavy metal for you. Black Sabbath Volume 4. And this was Black Sabbath for the third time reinventing themselves, and in doing so, they were reinventing heavy metal as a genre. That's the bizarre thing in these first 5 or 6 Black Sabbath records. When you listen to Paranoid and Black Sabbath, you hear the band very straight on direct as they would play their songs live. And it was the first time I wasn't around then, but if you listen to it right now, it's fresh, it's new, it's the beginning of the heavy metal genre. But then the third album is another reinvention, becoming more complex and doing things with the studio. And here they're taking it into new directions as well, reshaping the genre with a song like Snowblind, which is not about snow, but something else. With Under the Sun, with Wheels of Confusion. Oh, that's a good song. Tomorrow's Dream. Oh, Supernod. And perhaps even my favorite, and that's one of the songs that a lot of Black Sabbath fans debate about. They think some people think it's because it's a ballad, it's too sweet. I think it was just the ballad metal needed at that time, and we still need it because it's a song Changes, which has become a major hit again recently because Youngblood, the British artist, played it at the final show of Ozzy Osbourne, and Changes is just, I mean, I love Youngblood's version. I love the version of Black Sabbath on this record. At number 12, Black Sabbath Volume 4. At number 11, Big Star, number 1 record. Beautiful, fresh band hanging out. You know that show, the 70s show, the title track? It's this. And this is such a wild rock band. Great songwriting, beautiful voice. I love its specific sound. Alex Chilton is just incredible. At number 11, Big Star, number 1 record. Entering top 10 territory. At number 10, Al Green, Let's Stay Together. Soul may not become much sweeter than this. And it's not just sweet, it's also pretty groovy. This is a masterpiece by Al Green. The opening track, Let's Stay Together, and title track as well, is one of those songs that most people, especially film lovers, will recognize. Quentin Tarantino used it in Pulp Fiction. But this record doesn't just stick to its opening. It's not just one of those front-backed records. The entirety is just high quality, beautiful stuff. You'll love it. At number 10, Al Green, Let's Stay Together. At number 9, Steely Dan, Can't Buy a Thrill. I think this may be my favorite Steely Dan album. When you put this one on, and this is a first American pressing, and some American pressings have some issues with the hole not being fully in the center. Some people think you shouldn't buy a first one. Well, keep hunting one down. I was lucky to find a perfect pressing, and then you hear the beautiful detail, the full quality of what Donald Fagen and Walter Becker were after. This was in a time when Steely Dan was still a band, but with Donald Fagen and Walter Becker at the core. And it sounds so beautiful. There is a complexity, but these tunes may be their most inviting tracks. Do It Again, what a song. Reeling in the Years. These are the big hits for the band, and they just are. They're way out of it. At number 9, Steely Dan, Can't Buy a Thrill. At number 8, one of the first records that I really put some money down for, and I actually went I traveled to a different town to find it because I just couldn't find it, and I was completely in a T-Rex mood back then. It's about 10, 11 years ago. It's T-Rex's The Slider. This one is really special. This is the first US pressing with a beautiful sleeve with Warner Brothers Records logo on it. Nevertheless, the label states Reprise Records. But Warner Brothers Reprise, I don't want to even be discussing it. I just want to talk to you about how this record, opening with Metal Guru. This is like teenage snugging. Seriously. Not snugging right now, but brings you back to the days of teenage snugging. It has this beautiful, pure, light-hearted high school vibe. Mystic Lady, what a great song. Rock on, yeah. The Slider, Baby Boomerang, Spaceball Ricochet. I think that's one of his best songs. So many beautiful, sweet, lovable songs. Telegram Sam, you're my main man. Chariot Sugar and Main Man as a final song. That's also the song on the tracks, on the final tracks. How do you say that? When a film is over, I should know that. The credit song of this beautiful Matthew McConaughey film. Gorgeous record. At number 8, T-Rex The Slider. At number 7, The Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street. And I think some people may have wished this record would be higher in the video. I understand, because in any other year this would be on top of the list, because this is among one of the best records made by the Rolling Stones. They were energetic, and this record has a beautiful messiness to the sound, but they were fooling around with blues and with country, and they came up with so many great recordings, so many great songs. For me, the heart of this record is Shine a Light. It is it's heartbreakingly good. Now, it took me some time to get into. The first time I thought, well, where are the hits? And that was what bothered the initial release of this record. But the last couple of years, people have started to truly appreciate it for what it is. A beautiful reinventing of the Rolling Stones, and a great record. At number 7, the Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street. At number 6, one of the highlights in the career of Neil Young, Harvest. Now, I believe Neil Young doesn't remember recording this record. He does know he did do it, but he doesn't remember recording it. Well, this is a stunner. The big, grand production. So many stunning songs here. A Man Needs a Maid, Heart of Gold. Just to name some hits. Old Man is here. Alabama, you got the weight on your shoulders. Then The Needle and the Damage Done, about addiction. And that's also another one of those heartbreaking songs. It's just, you know what? Yeah, this is the best record by Neil Young. Again, that's the bizarre thing about 1972. This is number 6 on my video. This year has some of the best work ever by some of the biggest artists ever. And Neil Young Harvest is just at 6. So what's at 5? Well, I'm putting a not so big name on number 5. But I think this is among the core of what this year has to offer. It's not recorded in this year, but it was released in 1972. And this is Mississippi John Hurt's Last Sessions. Now, if you're a music fan or a rock fan and you haven't heard of it, and you may think, what is this guy doing up there above the Rolling Stones, above Neil Young, above Steely Dan? Please let me change your mind and try to find a copy of this. Mississippi John Hurt is one of the purest, the best blues musicians out there. He is one of those originals who was playing around in the early 20s, didn't touch his guitar for a couple of decades, and then got rediscovered in the 60s. But his skillful guitar playing, and trust me, you will not easily find someone who is more skillful at the guitar than Mississippi John Hurt. It survived, and there's a freshness to it. And then just after he got discovered, he was old, and he was struggling with that. And this record, these are his last sessions just before he died. And that makes it for such an emotional record. It's got songs like Poor Boy, Long Ways From Home, Spiders, Waiting For You. Actually, all these songs, they are just continuously great. But then at the end, the almost last song of the session, You've Got to Die. And it's got the lyric, just when you get ready, you've got to die. And that at that moment in time, for him and his career, it is confronting. And this is a song that ever since the first time I heard it, and it's about a year ago and I bought this record, it kept haunting me. That tune, that lyric, that melody, the way he sings it, the intimacy. Ending off this record with, and this it's credited to Lead Belly, How Do You Let Better, Good Night Irene. But I thought that the song Good Night Irene may have been even older than that. Not sure if they knew that or if I'm just wrong. At number 5, Mississippi John Hurt, Last Sessions. At number 4, keeping some records from falling here. At number 4, the late, great Townes Van Zandt. And Townes Van Zandt was not dead at the time. Townes Van Zandt was just depressed, or had a bizarre sense of humor. What I'm holding here is the first American pressing of this record. It took me so long to find this, but I had to find it because country music doesn't get much better than this. Nor does folk, actually, because it's a crossover between country and folk. And Townes Van Zandt at his core is writing here about life, about nature. It's very hard to describe lyrics because I think it's easy to discard all the nuances that are going on, especially with a great artist like Townes Van Zandt. So I'm going to leave it at that. This record, and I'm talking just even about side 2, opens with Fraulein. Beautiful song. Pancho and Lefty, which became a very, very big hit in all its cover versions. Then we get If I Needed You, one of the best love songs ever written. We go to Silver Ships of Endelar, an epic of no proportions, ending off with Heavenly Houseboat Blues, which is basically Townes Van Zandt having some fun. And after such an epic song, after all the emotional layered songs before that, that direct beauty, that lovely sweet fooling around gives this record so much. This is just one of the best records ever. Seriously, beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. At number 4, the late, great Townes Van Zandt. Number 3, a live album. One of those live albums that changed everything for me. When I heard the Purple Made in Japan, it was like lightning struck me. Opening with Highway Star, and I was talking about Highway Star earlier on the Machine Head album, which is grand, which is good, but nothing compares to the skill, the energy, the vibrant solos between John Lord and Ritchie Blackmore that just go wild on this live record. And after Highway Star, you get into the most perfect rendition of Child in Time, one of the biggest, most beautiful epics in the world of pop and rock history. And is that where it's at? No, you get Smoke on the Water. Stunning, so much better than the studio version. The Mule, Strange Kind of Woman, Lazy with an harmonica that nails it, and Space Trucking as side 4. Wow. Just wow. At number 3, Deep Purple, Made in Japan. At number 2, 1972 was a good year for David Bowie because, well, for example, he produced this album, Lou Reed's Transformer. One of the records I played the most. And this is the first British pressing, and that sounds stunning. The record was also produced in the UK. Opening with Fishes. What's Fishes about? Somebody asked him once. Oh, no. The story is Andy Warhol told Lou Reed, "Oh, you should write a song about somebody who's vicious." And Lou Reed was like, "Vicious like what?" "Oh, like somebody who hits you with a flower." So Lou Reed wrote the lyric, "Vicious, you hit me with a flower. You do it every hour. Oh, honey, you're so vicious." And then Andy's Chest. I love Andy's Chest. Beautiful, ambiguous song. Perfect Day. Everybody knows Perfect Day. One of the big Lou Reed hits. Hanging Around is good. Walk on the Wild Side. Another anthem for Lou Reed. Side 2, Makeup. What a daring song. What a beautiful, daring song. Satellite of Love. That's good. Wagon Wheel. New York Telephone Conversation. Quirky song. I'm So Free. And ending off with Good Night Ladies. I mean, that's one of those songs you just want to listen to late at night. One of the core moments of glam rock. Lou Reed at his best. And number 2. Number 1, well, give credit to this record here for David Bowie, because not only did he produce Mott the Hoople, not only did he produce Lou Reed, he produced and made as an artist Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. One of the essential records from the 70s. Bowie telling the story of an alien landing on Earth who tried to warn the world about a apocalypse coming. That's basically 5 years. The opening track, 5 years, tells about the warning, the coming of the apocalypse. Then we get Soul Love, beautiful, sweet song. Moonage Daydream, a power Bowie rock anthem. Starman, beautiful ballad. It Ain't Easy, good song. Side 2, Lady Stardust, Star, Hang On To Yourselves. Title track, Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, and ending it off with Rock and Roll Suicide, one of the all-time great ballads. Whew. Bowie was on fire. And you know what? 1972 as a year was on fire. So please leave a comment below and tell me what records you're missing, because I'm missing records. Just, I mean, stuff that I put aside. Paul Simons, Lou Reed's Lou Reed. These are just coincidentally laying around here. From which Elvis Presley at Madison Square Garden, great live album. Rory Gallagher, Juice. There are so many great records. So just please leave a comment below what you think should have been in there, and I'll probably agree with you, because this was just a year with too many great records. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.